Tua Tagovailoa, man. It's hard not to feel a knot in your chest when you think about what he's been through. After last season, when he suffered at least 2 concussions, maybe even 3, it's no surprise he considered hanging it all up. I mean, who wouldn't? But after that rough week 2 hit this year against the Bills, everyone was talking again, whispers about whether Tua would really call it quits for good. Yet, here we are, and he's still in it. No retirement. He's kept moving forward, and that tells you something about who he is. Tua says he's been symptom-free since the day after that concussion. It's almost unbelievable, right? He even talked to several neurologists, trying to make sure his head was right. Now, let's pause here for a second. How many players do you know who get thrown onto the IR just for a concussion? Not many. That's how seriously the Dolphins are taking his situation. Week 8 is the soonest he can come back, and honestly, that feels like the lifeline Miami has been waiting for. The offense hasn't been the same without him, but the shadow of doubt about his health is something we all feel, whether we admit it or not. Is this really safe for him? Can he stay out there long term? And here's something that's got some people raising their eyebrows: he's not wearing a Guardian cap when he comes back. Now, the NFL just started letting guys wear these things during games, and some have been smart enough to do it, especially with the whole concussion thing. But Tua? Nope, he's not going to wear it. It makes you wonder if that's the best call given his history, right? We've seen too much already. This guy has a future, but it also feels like we're on edge, waiting to see what happens next. Mike McDaniel, the head coach, said the decision to put Tua on IR came straight from the medical team. That should be a big red flag for us. This wasn't a casual let's give him some rest kind of move. No, this was about protecting him from something more serious. But then again, we heard early on that Tua was expected to return this season. That was the hope all along, and it looks like that's happening. Yet, it's still hard to shake the anxiety about his future. During this time off, Tua's been throwing the ball. He didn't just sit around and wait, he's been out there, keeping himself ready. He's been throwing for about a month now, which is most of the time he's been on IR. He's frustrated, though. You can hear it in how he talks. He didn't want to be sidelined, especially not when he's at the top of his game after signing that huge contract. But if you're Tua, what choice did you have? At least now, it looks like he's gearing up to play this Sunday. Let's not forget the massive extension he signed back in July, 4 years, $212.4 million. That's life-changing money. And if he had retired after that latest concussion? Well, that would have thrown everything off. He's got $167.2 million guaranteed, whether from being healthy or if something happens injury-wise. But to see that contract all the way through, he's got to keep playing. A retirement now, especially after passing all those Dolphins physicals, would have changed everything, and it's clear that's not an option on the table for him. But here's the thing we can't ignore: even with Tua back, Miami's got a huge job ahead of them in keeping him safe. For as long as Tua is in a Dolphins uniform, this is going to be the story. The team has to manage that risk, making sure they don't put him in harm's way, but at the same time, they need him out there if they're going to win. That's the tricky part, right? You're paying him $50 million a year, and that's the going rate for franchise QBs, but you also don't want to risk everything. When Tua's running Mike McDaniel's offense, everything clicks. We've seen it. The Dolphins are a completely different team when he's out there. Last year, they were ranked second in scoring and led the league in yardage. Tua was a huge part of that, playing all 17 games and proving why he deserved that monster deal. But without him, well, we've all seen what happens. The offense drops to last place in scoring, and they're sitting at 22nd in total offense. That's not who this team is supposed to be. So now, we're all just holding our breath, hoping Tua's return ignites this team again. He's done it before, let's see if he can do it again.